Hi Stampers, this is Kim with Great Inspirations. Thank you for joining me for another Stamp Happy Holidays video. Today we are going to talk about gatefold cards. Gatefold cards are probably one of the easiest fun fold cards, and you can dress them up, dress them down, so many things you can do with a gatefold card. And if memory serves, a gatefold card was the first fun fold card I ever made way back in the who knows how long ago. But today I thought we would talk about gatefold cards because, like I said, they can be put together fairly quickly. And if you feel that you're just not going to have a whole lot of time to create your Christmas cards, you might want to consider a gatefold card. Now, some of you may not know what a gatefold card is. Well, it's basically you take your 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock, and instead of scoring it down the middle and folding, you score on the ends to form like a gate. Of course, then you have to come up with a way to keep that gate closed. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I have 4 options here for closing your gatefold card. And this first one is very easy. You simply have your focal image. As you can see, I have this cute little tree, and I've matted it several times. And then you put adhesive just on one side, on the back side of the left-hand side of your image, and adhere it into place. And this will basically weigh down the front of the card and keep it closed, but then you can still open it, and there's the inside. So that's one way. Another way, and this way is fairly popular, is to create a belly band. Just a little band that slips on and off the card. And you can just put your image right in the center of that belly band. And what you do want to do when you're making that belly band is make sure that the seam where you join it together is in the front, so you can hide it with your image. And then you can open the card, and there you go. Looks a whole lot like this one, doesn't it? So we'll put this back on. Then another option is to place a ribbon around it. And it's quite a bit like creating this one. You get your ribbon, you stretch it out, and I usually put a little piece of tape or a glue dot down to keep my ribbon in place. And then over on this side, I might put an acrylic block or something. I have my ends of the ribbon out, put something down to hold them. Again, glue on the back side, just on the left-hand side. Press it into place and tie your ribbon. And it opens just like that. You can bring your ribbon around and tie it back. I'll never get it tied as good as I had it the first time. It never happens. It's kind of, I have one time to get the ribbon really nice. But then you can also make what I call a sliding closure. And that's what this is. It slides on and off the card. There's the inside. And it's basically, make this little thing that sort of looks like an X. And then I just adhered it to the back of my focal image. And then what you do is just get both ends of your card and slide it on. Now I put this little ribbon here right between the green and the red mat there, because lots of times people know to, oh, there's a ribbon, I pull that. But also you can just move it back and forth with the sides. So the ribbon is optional. But anyway, I thought we would walk through each of these very quickly here. And we'll start with, of course, the basic one. And here is my card base. And I've already scored it. And I scored it at 2 1/8. Turned it around and scored at 2 1/8. So 2 1/8 from each side. And why 2 1/8? Because the width of this card, when it's folded, is 4 1/4. So half of 4 1/4 is 2 1/8, and that's why each of these little flaps is 2 1/8 inches wide. And of course it's 5 1/2 long. So we're going to just fold inward, and we are going to really reinforce the score lines in the fold, because the flatter the better, and it kind of helps them, I think, meet up better, the two flaps. So then we'll fold this. Just get it as absolutely close to that as possible. Use our foam folder. And there is our card base. And then I have on my blog, there will be the measurements for these pieces, but they are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And there's 2 of them. We're not going to put any on this. This is just for learning purposes. But here is our image. And you can change the size of this image. This one happens to be 3 by 3. This is 2 3/4 by 3. It all is going to depend on your focal point, your focal image, and how many layers you decide to use to match your focal layer. But on my corresponding blog post, all the measurements for the cards that I made will be available there, and the link to that blog post will be located in the description of this video. So, as I have mentioned, here is this, and we are going to put adhesive only on this left-hand side, on the back side of it. And you might say, oh, I have a hard time with that. Well, I do too, and again, I forgot to get my pencil, so I'm going to reach over here. So what I do is I kind of get it in place. Then I open it up, turn it over here, and draw a little line that we can erase later. And now I know, which I know you can probably not even see that, but there is a line right here. And now I know to put my adhesive this way. You can't see that. Let me see if I can. This might show up better. Oh, don't want that end. Let's see. Here's my line, kind of, sort of. So I know, keep adhesive here. Because if we flip this over, well, we don't know that. Let me draw. This is the left side of my image. This is the right-hand side of my image. We want that adhesive to be on this side. So I draw my line, and I know that I can put adhesive in this area. So I'm going to use some temporary adhesive today, some removable adhesive, just because we're going to keep using this image, or lack thereof, the beautiful L's and R's, to demonstrate the other options. So I put this on here, and what you can do if you want, you can line it up this way. Because if you're going to center it, if you want it to be up a little, same thing. And there you go. I don't really care for that. That's a little lopsided. But there we go. Easy. It's quick. You have a card that's ready to go. And that is just by weighing down your little gate. Now, the next one is a belly band. And what we're going to do for that is I have cut a strip of cardstock that's 10 inches long by 1 inch wide. And I'm going to slip it under my card base. I'm going to use my grid paper to kind of get it as even as possible. Then I'm going to fold this over. And I'm going to fold this over. And we want this to be loose, tight enough to stay on, but loose enough to move up and down. We're going to put adhesive right here. And then on this end right here. And we fold this over just like that. And then for our piece, instead of putting the adhesive right there, let's see if I can rub this off. It usually comes right off. Sure enough, let me put that in the trash. We are going to put some adhesive right here, right across the center. Put that on our belly band, and then slides on, or off rather. And it's falling apart. And then you can just slide it right back on. Of course, it stays together better when you use the more permanent adhesive, but that is how you do the belly band. So we'll take this off. And now the next one is actually the ribbon, but I think I'm going to save that for last. We will do this little, the sliding one, the closure that slides off and on, which seems to be stuck. Oh, there we go. We'll do that one. So there's two ways to do this. And the first one I'm going to show you is my least favorite. And we'll get that out of the way. But you'll need a piece of cardstock that is, let me move these over here, 10 inches wide. Now, it can be however tall you want it, but it's going to be 10 inches wide. So we can score it and fold it, and it will make the little apparatus. So what you're going to do, you're going to have this piece that's 10 inches long and however wide you want it. I'm not really sure. Did I make this one 3 or 2 3/4? This is 2 3/4. So we're going to score. I need to read my notes here. Here's a score line at 2.5, 3 3/4, 5 inches, 7.5 inches, and 8 3/4 inches. Then we're going to fold it. Now on the left-hand side, we have this bigger space. That is going to be a valley fold. You want to fold it and make sure to line everything up as best you can. And then we're going to use our bone folder to really crease that fold. Now our next one is a mountain. And we're going to do the exact same thing. Now we're going to do another valley. And then a mountain. No, that's not right. It's a I'm sorry. It's valley, mountain, valley, valley. And then a mountain. And this too, it's on my blog. So you can look at this, you will see valley, mountain, valley, mountain. And what we're going to do, we are going to use some glue and put this together. Because what we're going to do is going to go together like this. So what we do is we put glue here and here, or if you want, you can put it on the center piece. I kind of like to put it on the sides, but you know, you can choose. It's whichever you prefer, the sides or to put it right there. And then you fold this down. And again, I'm going to use my Bolden folder. Excuse me. And then we fold this towards the center and really try to get them bumped right up against each other as much as possible. So there's that. And now we're going to put glue on the back side of these little pieces. And fold this down right over them. And then we have, let me put this glue away. So what we have there is a little apparatus that can go on the back of our focal image. And when you kind of pop it open here, it sort of looks like an X. And then this piece that, well, either one, but I always go, where's the seam? And it's right here. And I bend these two pieces back just a little, just kind of work with them. And then your focal image, this will go right on the back of your focal image. It doesn't matter if it's the same size as the focal image or not. And then you're just going to slide, our focal image is not going to stay on, but we're just going to slide this right down the card. And again, you can do the little trick with the ribbon, you know, whatever you want to do. And like I said, this is my least favorite. It does have the advantage that it's just one piece of cardstock. But now, the way I prefer to do these is I will take 4 pieces of cardstock. And actually, where'd the card go? For this one, that's not the, here it is. For this one, my largest mat, the last mat, is what I used for one of the sides, for the top of my mechanism. So you're going to need 4 pieces of cardstock that are the same size. They can be, like, I usually make the top one, you can make them all white. If you're going to use this one for the mat, it should be the color that you need to coordinate with your card. And I usually do, like, normally I would have made both of these red, but I wanted you to see the difference. And then I do make the 2 inside ones white, but you don't have to. You could use all one color cardstock. It's totally up to you. But what I have right here are 4 squares of cardstock. They're 3 by 3. And these are going to be in the center. And I scored them in half. Since they are 3 inches wide, I scored at 1.5 inches. So we have that score line, and we're just going to turn it forward and burnish that score line. And we do that because these things really need to be able to move. And they also, it just seems to make them flatter. And the flatter they are, the better, in my opinion. It's easier to make them butt up beside one another. Just get them really close. Now this is very similar to this one. We're going to glue them on, and just, again, you can put the glue on these little tabs, or you can put the glue on the cardstock. But I'm just going to line this right up. The edges of the cardstock, just do the very best you can. And now the fold goes towards the center, and that's what we're going to do with this one. We want the fold to go towards the center. Get that as absolutely close to the other one as you can. And now we're going to put this one on top. And again, you can put the glue on the back of your piece of cardstock, or right here on the flaps. Flip that over. And you line it up. And I don't know if you saw, but I didn't quite have this up to the top. That's why I like to use liquid glue for this, because there is a little bit of time. You have a little wiggle room there. But then, so what you've created is, again, a little X, and this back I'm going to bend just a little. And then we would put our focal image right on there. And like I say, if you want to put that little piece of ribbon, I just folded it in half, and I used glue dots, one on each side, to hold it in there. You can use whatever adhesive you care to use. And then we can put this on there and just slide it right into place. And I will say that that doesn't want to stick. In my experience, it takes a couple times sliding this thing back and forth. So before you send the card, you might want to just slide it back and forth. But that's how you do that one. So this is how it would look, your image. So now let's do the ribbon. I have some ribbon here, and the ribbon I used on this was about 21 inches, 21, 22 inches, somewhere in there. And all I did was put it back of the card. Got these sort of even. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect. Okay, so that's about where I want it. And then I put an acrylic block there, but right now I don't have my acrylic block near, but I do have this. So we'll just put that right there. And that's just going to help me keep it somewhat where I want it. So I can glue that down. I just slipped a glue dot under it. Today I'm going to just try to slip a little bit of this there. Just put that right there. And then back to this. Don't need this on here now. Get that in the garbage. But we do need to put it again on the left-hand side, just like we did before. put that in place. We'll tie our bow. And of course you can, work with your bow and you can trim it and do the other things that you like to do. But that is how you do that. So there you have it. We have the bow, we have our little sliding mechanism, there's a belly band, and there's just weighing it down with your focal image. Those are 4 ways that you can close a gatefold card. I'm sure there are many others, but these are the 4 that I usually go to when I want to keep my gatefold closed. So I hope these little tips have helped you today. And like I said, if you feel you're running out of time for your Christmas cards, why not consider a gatefold card? I mean, this one would be, I think, the easiest. Just do your image, dress up your card base, and do a greeting. Now, I did inside put some pattern paper, only because I thought that the white just on the red was really stark. So I just found this and I really liked it with that. So that's why I also decided to die cut my image just a little bit there, just to give a little more interest. But I think this would be a good option. And you don't have to put an image inside. You could just have, Merry Christmas. And just on a piece of white cardstock with the pattern paper mat, it looks really nice. So that would be a pretty quick way to make some cards. And the belly band is fairly quick, as is the ribbon. This one I think takes just a little more time, but it's still doesn't take that much longer. So as I had said, the measurements for these cards, a list of supplies, tips and tricks on how to close your card, all that will be found on my corresponding blog post, and the link to that blog post is in the description of this video. Thank you for joining me today, and until next time, stamp happy.